The market has been going up in recent months. Don't forget, we had a good end of year, up 24%. Donald Trump thinks that the market's been going up because the market is betting on more stability in the world because he is going to be the next president. I want you to hear him here speaking on the Fox News town hall. He said there's a reason people are feeling more confident about the stock market, even with the economy being in the doldrums.
On an economic shutdown, you said this week in an interview that if there's an economic crash, that you hope it happens now. Yeah. That you don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
You're not saying you're hoping for a crash, just to be clear.
No, I think this. I think the economy is horrible, except the stock market's going up. And I think the stock market's going up because I'm leading Biden in all of the polls, every single poll for the last, with states that normally are not easy to lead. You know, when you're leading in Pennsylvania, you're leading in Michigan, you're leading in Wisconsin. We're leading in virtually every state and of the swing states. And overall, we're leading by a lot nationwide. But I would say this, we have a situation which I believe the stock market goes up because I'm leading. I think if I wasn't leading, the stock market would be 25% lower. And I think, frankly, if I didn't win, I think the stock market would crash.
Yeah, but you said when there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
Well, I think there will be a crash if I don't win. And I say that, and I do not want to be Herbert Hoover. Do you know who Herbert Hoover was? 1929, he was the president, and that was not a good time to be. I don't want to be Herbert Hoover, and I won't be Herbert Hoover.
So with
Herbert Hoover, and I'm a history buff. I also used to listen to the Annie 8-track when I was a kid. And there's a whole song in there. We'd like to thank you, Herbert Hoover, because basically Herbert Hoover was there when the market crashed, and he kind of oversaw that. A lot of people blamed him for it. FDR came in. The market still crashed. We didn't get out of that. Great book on this by Amity Shlaes, who wrote about the forgotten man, because the policies were so absolutely positively lousy, just lousy, guys, during FDR's time. And it was giveaways. And it really wasn't actually until, sadly, you wound up back in war, World War II. I'll tell you, thank God for America. Thank God we were willing to put ourselves out there. Because, we'd probably all be speaking German or something if we weren't today. I mean, people forget. They hit on our country over and over and over again. And Europeans do this as well. And I'll tell you, America's a great place. And it always has been. And I sure as heck hope it always will be. We're a unique place, a wonderful, wonderful place. Anyway, Herbert Hoover, he got bounced out, right? Because, the economy was a mess. There was a stock market crash, et cetera, et cetera. And FDR, it took him forever to actually improve things. Eventually, things turned around. Unfortunately, it was because of other circumstances. But I'll tell you, ever since then, we've been in charge, right? We have been the hegemonic power of the world. And with that goes a certain responsibility in terms of hopefully being able to kind of keep and ensure some form of world peace, which means you got to have better diplomats, better people than Biden and Blinken out there. And you got to prevent things like what we saw going on in Ukraine. I mean, just unbelievable. And Russia. Jamie Dimon, who runs the biggest bank, I believe it's the biggest bank, JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon, he's like a straight shooter. I got to say that. He's a pretty good guy. I've known him for many years. I've interviewed him. He was on with Maria Bartiromo, my former colleague. Great woman, by the way. Just a really, really phenomenal person. You can't say that a lot about people in either media or finance. So 2 plugs for Jamie and Maria. And Jamie went on with Maria, and he actually said, you know what? Donald Trump's policies, they were really good. He's going out on a limb, guys. He's going out on a limb, I promise you, when he says this, because the financial community really doesn't like Donald Trump. And so I saw this, I was like, wow. And it's true. They were good policies. Come on, credit where credit's due. I wish the media, the regular media, could actually figure this out. Let's look at Jamie Dimon here with Maria.
I think we should stop insulting the other side, including MAGA. I've mentioned publicly many times that a lot of people are voting for President Trump not because they believe in his family values, but they look at some of the things he did. He grew the economy. He was right about NATO, that they should spend more money. He was right pointing out about China. He was right about that, some regulations do not cause positive output. So that's why they're voting for him. And I think the Democrats should be a little more thoughtful when they talk about MAGA and say, why? Not like, and then don't act like every attribute of Trump is an attribute of them. It's just not true.
Somebody's going to actually stand up and call this stuff out. It's a little risky for him because he runs a big bank. He's heading to Davos soon, right? And to get up there and actually say that and to try and say that, you know, half the country does actually matter and their opinion actually matters. And they're not horrible people because they voted for Donald Trump. There's an effort to dismiss half the country. It's like the deplorables all over again, right? Those horrible, awful people. No, like Americans are good people, hardworking people that aspire to have a better life for themselves and their children and want this country to be a good, prosperous, and safe place. It's all their way. I mean, Joe Biden down at a church, for goodness sakes, in South Carolina. Very specific church, unfortunately, a church that was the site of a horrific massacre that happened, by the way, under not Donald Trump's presidency, but under, of course, Barack Obama. But he goes down to this church and it's like, okay, God is okay, church is okay, as long as it's a black church in South Carolina, but like every other church, like the evangelicals, oh my goodness, the evangelicals, everybody's all upset because the evangelicals in Iowa are voting for Trump. I don't get this utter hatred of anyone who thinks differently than you. Do you think I hate people that vote for Biden? No, I may not agree with them. I don't hate. I wouldn't feel that strongly. But then again, I'm not the one who collects all my trophies and then submits false documentation to get 37 of them so I can hand them out to my friends and show off in my office, right? Like, what is wrong with the character of these people? That's why when Letitia James tries to fine him $370 million and kick him out of the state of New York, the American public sits up, notices, and says, no, not in my country. Thank you very much. And so as much as they try and keep him down, all of the methodology that they are using to do this actually backfires, spectacularly backfires. And they are too darn stupid, to figure it out. I mean, again, this is the same crowd that like submits phony stuff so they can get their freaking awards. I just love that story. My gosh, I still don't totally get it. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure. I want to see what you guys have to say about all of this stuff right now. Again, I always appreciate you being here. It's really just tremendous to see how much we've grown. This is the future. Maybe Disney will figure it out one day.